This August, the rhythm returns. The Toronto Pan-African Film Festival is back, and louder than ever. It's Rhythm, the heartbeat of Black music and storytelling. Experience the powerful fusion of film and music that honors the creativity and impact of Black musicians worldwide. August 14th to 17th, from the Black Carpet Gala in Little Jamaica to free screenings, panel vibes, and the grand finale brunch with media mogul Phillip Scott. Get your tickets now at tpaf.com. The Toronto Pan-African Film Festival 2025. Feel the rhythm, live the story.
You've tried it your way, but you're still in debt? Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster? MillionaireX.ai gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit MillionaireX.ai today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Let's stop acting like we don't see how this game is played. If you tired of folks throwing shade with a smile and keeping you boxed in with that slick behind-the-scenes racism, it's time to upgrade your survival skills. See, Phillip Scott dropped more than just knowledge. He handed you a playbook with passive-aggressive racism in the system of white supremacy. This ain't the in-your-face kind. This is that sneaky, office space, let me block your blessings type of racism that'll have you questioning your own reality. It's time to call it what it is and arm yourself with the facts. But baby, don't stop at just peeping the system. Break those mental chains too. That's why you need 7 steps to decolonize the mind. This is about freeing yourself up top, walking in confidence, and letting the world know your mind is not for rent, lease, or layaway. It's time to reclaim your power step by step. So don't just watch, take action. Click over to Amazon.com, type in passive-aggressive racism in the system of white supremacy and 7 steps to decolonize the mind, and secure both books for yourself, your crew, and anybody ready for that mental liberation. La Sherika said it, now go do it. Invest in your freedom. Pick up both books today on Amazon.com. Trust me, your mind will thank you.
I don't spend my money at the club. Everything I want is provided for me.
The biggest misconception about you, nothing. It's all true. It's all true. It's all true. If you hear something, believe it. You want to get married now. Do you feel like you're that? No. It is my choice. It's by choice.
Who inspires me? Me. Yes. Me. Yeah. They inspire me, those people you mentioned.
I date mostly like married men, because I don't have that type of time for you. Oh, yeah. And you are married, you don't have that type of time for me.
What do you think it is that the wives are not doing?
I love this question.
They're not really being loved properly. When you stay with someone for so long and you feel like, oh, I don't really have to do much. Don't ever be comfortable around a human being. They can sweet.
His wife, one day I just make 11 o'clock, I'm like, she's like, my husband can't control himself, and you as a woman, you can't. I said, Mama, you can't even speak English, like, I can't even understand, like.
Yeah, I can even speak English because of, that's why.
Yes.
I don't even speak English sometimes. I wouldn't say it was a sugar daddy or a blaster. But I had a thing with someone that was giving me a lot of money.
Every day he was sending me money for lunch.
Every day is when you go to work?
Exactly.
Shout out to the slay queens who are getting their thing without having to sell a thing,
Yeah.
Trust me, you can get whatever you want, once you put your mind to it.
Watch Slay Queen only on the African Diaspora News Channel app.
From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
In H-Town, we want news that speaks truth, just like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke.
We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff, no filters, just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us here. We greatly appreciate it. I'll give y'all a hand clap as always. It's August the 12th. And Simi Valley, California. Black folks should not be in Simi Valley, California. It is one of the most anti-black towns. And we will look at demographics as we always look at when we see all this anti-black racism. I've told you many, many times. I've preached many sermons to you. I preached it about where you should not be moving, why you should actually look at some demographics, and we're going to have to talk about a harsh reality. I know we are in this flag-waving renaissance, but this kind of story right here gonna have me kind of going at that a little bit, okay? So we're gonna get to that tonight. We're gonna get to that, and you can get mad at everybody, get mad at your mammy, but you can't get mad at the truth. And I always tell anybody else that. All right. So thank you for being here. I know a lot of kids have started school, and I hope school is going good for y'all. I really hope it is. I was going to talk about the D.C. thing again, but I'm probably going to talk about that probably tomorrow night because more and more videos are coming out of D.C. what's going on, so I want to get more content before I talk about that. But this Simi Valley thing is kind of something that is like right up my alley, right? And I don't know, those of you who live in California who could be watching the stream right now, maybe you watch later, you may even know about what's happening in Simi Valley, California, or maybe know even the history, or whatever the case may be. But appreciate y'all coming on in. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you come and check the channel yourself. You're not going to get notifications. Even 100% of the viewers do not have notifications turned on. So turn on your notifications and click all notifications if you want to know something about the page. Because I know that some of you may subscribe, but you don't have all notifications. I talked to a brother the other day. You're like, man, I've been subscribed to you, but I ain't seen your videos in like a year. I say, how you don't see my videos for a year, brother? You know, you say, man, look, I'm subscribed. You showed me. I say, yeah, but look the notification bell, brother. He said, oh, it's not even turned on. I said, no. I said, we make videos every day. You say, man, I didn't even know. And this is a long time viewer from the shower curtain days telling me he ain't seen a video from me in a year. And he was just happy to see me. So turn on your notifications if you want to know. Also, come back and check the channel. We are a daily channel. We do something every day here. Something. We're going to have at least one video. We usually have more than one, but one video a day. So you're going to have to come check on your own because they're not going to give you every notification, especially if you don't turn it on. So we want to encourage everybody to turn on the notifications. Hit the subscribe button. Sometimes you got to check. Sometimes you get unsubscribed. So make sure you come check that too. We can't depend on them, right? Because based off of our numbers, or at least people that subscribe, we should be having at least 10, 20,000 people in here. That never happens. Why? People don't have notifications turned on. 2, notifications that are turned on sometimes don't go out. Understand what I'm saying? So people catch it later. So shout out to you for catching it later. All right. Well, thank you for downloading the app. We greatly appreciate that. Joining us monthly on the app is like supporting us for 31 cents a day. Just 31 cents a day. That's supporting us monthly on the app. On the, oh man, we have a quarterly, which that would probably be, that tier going to be going away January 1st. And we're going to have an annual. So really, in January 1st, we're going to go to just monthly, annual, and lifetime. We're going to have just 3. Okay, that's what we're looking to have next year. So just letting y'all know about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ghana trip. You're interested in going to Ghana? The link is there in the pinned comment. Some people have been asking about it. It's there. $199 down. You can make your payments and come on with us and have just a good time. And then you can come on right back to the good old US of A. All right. Oh, whoa. Before let me get to this. Class has started. Toronto, Canada. We'll be seeing y'all in the next few days. Shout out to Toronto, Canada. Be our first time in Canada. Never been there before. So we'll be seeing you brothers and sisters at the Pan-African Film Festival. We'll be doing a panel over there as well. They got a gala and all of these different things that's happening. So make sure you come out. I heard the tickets kind of sold out, but see, maybe you can get in anyway. While we out there, hey, if there's any organizations or anything like that, say, hey, Brother Phil, come over here and holler at us or whatever. Hey, holler at us. Let us know. If you're in Toronto, let us know. But we definitely come to represent for sure. Definitely bring some great Black American knowledge and fire and everything that's along with that. All right. So. Let's get to the main video here. There's this brother by the name of Michael Robinson. And you see at the bottom, Black Americans must fight for an anti-Black hate crime bill. Now, I want you to hear this news story out of Simi Valley, California. What happened to this young black man, brother, young. And this should not have happened. But this is our building point. So let me go ahead and cue this up. And then we're gonna get to the city council videos and all of that as well. So let's go ahead and play exactly what happened here.
Michael Robinson says a night out with his friends turned into this nightmare of a scene. He says a group of intoxicated, hostile teenagers started by picking on his friend with whom they had prior issues and then turned their rage on him. Robinson described their unrelenting punches, kicks, and their hurling of racial slurs.
They hit one of my friends in the face first, then they hit another. And then they come in and they rush me, and I'm in between 2 cars. I managed to get out from behind the 2 cars, and I run into the parking lot. As I get into the parking lot, they proceed to slam me into the hood of somebody's car and jump me.
From one angle, you see Robinson trying to shield himself from their blows with a chair and then took off running. He says he pleaded with a mall security guard to intervene, but the person cowered, didn't offer any kind of lifeline in his time of need.
But they still caught me, and when they caught me, they decided they were going to put my head in a trash can and proceed to hit me in the back of my head.
Several people have written into KTLA alleging this same group of white teenagers are responsible for victimizing other Black and brown teenagers. Robinson's attorney, Jamal Tucson, says they're calling for an equitable investigation.
The entire county of Ventura is watching, and broadly, on a national level, we are going to be looking to see how this situation is handled.
During a passionate Simi Valley City Council meeting Monday night, residents echoed these demands.
What happened on Saturday is a hate crime, and I urge you to ask the DA to investigate and prosecute it as such.
Hate crimes cannot continue to be swept under the rug. On behalf of the Black student body of Simi Valley, we demand justice for Michael Robinson.
The Simi Valley Police Department confirms that 4 teens were arrested for misdemeanor battery, and that one of them is the son of a local police officer. This officer, they say, is not involved in the investigation.
I forgive them, but there's consequences to your actions. I'm not the only person. I'm fighting for most. It's not just my voice. It's many.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's where we want to start off tonight. Now, let me get to demographics, okay? Let me get to demographics. Demographics is very important. And I've taught y'all, let me get my demographics here on the screen. I've taught you years ago about when you move places in the United States of California, United States of California, Lord, United States of America, that you need to know what is the demographics of where you're moving, okay? So we looking here at Simi Valley, California. Of course, they let you know who the senators are, or Adam Schiff and Alex Padilla. They give you all the information, but that's not really what I care about so much. Okay, you see the population, at least as of 2023. But this is what I want to focus more on, ladies and gentlemen, the race and ethnicity part. So they say the 3 largest ethnic groups in Simi Valley, California are white, Asian, and then you have 2 races, including other, and they say Hispanic. So if you get down here, okay, you look at 55% of that population is white. Okay, then you got 10% Asian. It's a two races including other. You got Hispanics here represent 8.38%. But then let me see. Hold on. Let me say that white Hispanic. Okay, but that's not what I want to focus on. I want to focus on way down here, right there. If you can't see that, it says Black or African American, non-Hispanic, 1.33%. And I've taught many years that if you never heard this before, it may be your first time hearing this. I always recommend Black people to move to cities that has 10% Black population or more. If you can't find a place that's 10%, at minimum try 5%, even though I don't like 5%, but at minimum 5, but definitely optimal number, start at 10 and go up. Why would I say that to you? Why? Why would I tell you to move to cities that was at least a Black population of at least 10% or more? Well, over these 13 years that I have been covering anti-Black racism, over the years I wrote 2 books and I got a 3rd one that I completed. I'll be talking about anti-Black racism. I've learned that when our numbers are extremely low in any city or area, that the anti-Black racists in that town, whether they are white or other, they get more bold because our numbers isn't plentiful. We don't have the backup. It's kind of like a police don't go into a situation if he knows he don't have backup. They even tell him, hey, you go into the situation, we're not going to have no backup. The cop not going to go into the situation because they say, nah, I got to wait till my backup come. Well, the fact is you're going into situations, you're going into towns and areas and you have no backup. Now, some of you may say, well, I should be able to stay wherever I want to stay. In theory, you're 100% right. I would not say you're wrong. But here's the problem. This country is infested with anti-Black racists, okay? Infested. Either they got anti-Black racists or anti-Black American bigots. This is what we're dealing with in this country, unfortunately. And when you're dealing with the anti-Black racists in towns like Simi Valley, why would you move there? Why would you not take inventory? Why? There's other areas that you can move to in California where you got enough Black people where you got some backup. You understand? So every story I've ever covered where it's been some gross anti-Black racism, 9 times out of 10, it's always been towns like Simi Valley. Always. The Black population is so low. Now, before we get to this next video, I've heard a statement a long time ago when a black parent move their children to an all-white area, they doing that for them, not the child. They feel they're validated by going to these all-white areas and say, oh, I really made it as a Black person in America because now I can stay around these folks. But your child goes through hell and high water when you do that because your child go to them school, them cheering. They have been socialized in the anti-Black racism from their household. Well, let me tell you about that something. No child, none, is born in the earth having any bigotry or hatred toward anybody. That is a taught behavior by their parents, by their grandparents, whoever else they want to live around. That's a taught thing. That's taught in the home. If you look at children naturally, they will just play and it won't be none of that. But that's reinforced. And in that particular culture, because that is a culture of people, in that culture teach to have anti-black racism against us. And if people within that culture don't have that, they look at them as abnormal. They cast them out. Have you paid attention to that? Any white person who isn't an anti-black racist, who is down for the cause, who's for what's right, they are ostracized out their community. Why are they ostracized? We've seen it time and time again. How a white person, male or female, if they are a good white person and they call out anti-black racism, they're ostracized because that they're being outside the cultural norm. It is a culture. That's why they're ostracized. Wait a minute. You are literally they call them the black sheep because you're against the culture that we teach. We're not teaching equality, equity. We're not teaching to be fair and human and godly. We're teaching anti-black racism. And you're not being on the team with us. We don't want nothing to do with you. We're going to cash you out. Matter of fact, go over there with the blacks. They were so serious about it that this country never talks about all the white people who's put up in the tree too. And they'll put up in the tree for trying to help black people. They don't talk about some people that were in the civil rights movement who all were white, that lost their life for trying to fight for civil rights. They never talk about those white people. They literally Thanos snap them out of history. They never talk about those white people. They'll make you think they never existed. Why? Because they were outside of the cultural norm. That's why. It's a very interesting dynamic for me. The more and more I have looked at it over the years, right? Over the years. And when you talk about their children, I saw y'all talking about their children. They teach that to their children in the home. I told y'all a long time ago, they learn the N-word by the age of 2. By the age of 2, they know it. Oh yeah, they do. And if they mama and daddy ain't taught it to them, somebody else in their family has said it around them. Because they can be living in Appalachia. We're nowhere near that area. We're not there. And then they will be sitting up here talking about us, saying things about, oh, well, let's go see what the blacks are doing. They love to say that. They want to get on TV. They want to get on the internet, find out what we're doing, right? Now, let's get to the next clip I want to show you, ladies and gentlemen, real quick. Let me go up here. The first video, right? So this is a continuation of, at the city council, people speaking about the situation that happened to Michael Robinson.
And Jonah Collado, the son of Officer Collado, is allowed to just go freely. And he said he would do it again. He has no remorse. And just hearing about what happened at Regal sounded like something that was 100 years ago, but it happened 3 days ago. I deserve to feel safe in my city. Mike was just a friend of mine. This could have happened to me. And all those thugs, Jonah Collado, Hayden Davey, Maddox Westfall, Nathan Elkins, and Harper Trejos were let to go freely. Had they been black, they might have been or arrested instantly. Those boys committed a hate crime. One of the worst ones I've ever witnessed in my life. And they were allowed to go freely. And then you have the police make a statement, a lie, saying they arrested 4 juveniles. They only cited 3, and they were let go freely right away. And they turned themselves in. And Jonah Collado, the son of Officer Collado, is allowed to just go freely. And he said he would do it again. He has no remorse. Absolutely none. Those boys, I wouldn't even call them boys. They're thugs. They're monsters. Evil. Evil people. And I can't believe we have the city just not protect us. No justice. Sad.
Trump flags everywhere. I feel very unsafe now working out the town center. My name is Isaac Rockmore. I'm also the Black Student Union Treasury President at Moore Park College. I want to say in 2022, I moved here thinking that Simi Valley was a safe place. I didn't know that the happy face coming here on the freeway meant racist. And also, I have siblings that are also Black, and I feel uncomfortable bringing them places out here. Also, I work in the town center, and I've seen it all with the Trump flags everywhere is disgusting. It's very disgusting. I feel very unsafe now working out the town center because I'm seeing the slurs on the sign, the people that come in. It's just disgusting. And then as for my mother that doesn't even live in this place, seeing it, that's disturbing. Thank you.
Okay, then the next person's time will start.
All right. So you heard the young brother and also the other young kids was speaking about the situation. And yes, they are thugs. They are criminals. They are monsters, and they are evil for what they did to that brother. And that's not the only one they did that to as well. We get to another parent, actually, that had the same experience. People think that California, oh, it's so liberal and oh, it's so much freedom and whatever. Man, California has more racism, and I've heard this from plenty of black people, more racism than even places like Texas. Because at least in Texas, or even just the general South, white people and black people just got to understand it. We don't go bother with them. We don't go to they honky-tonk places. We're not trying to go to their country clubs. We let them have their own spaces. We got our own spaces. And we just stay in our own lane. And we get along just fine like that in the South. We are. But then the liberal has always been the problem. Malcolm X told us a long time ago, the white liberal was more cunning than the white conservative. He said that. He said the white liberal will act like they're your friend, but yet they are just as vicious or sometimes more vicious than the white conservative. See, you'll see Trump come out in the open. He'll tell you what I'm about to do. I'm going into D.C. I'm doing this and that and the third. The white liberal won't tell you. He'll just quietly do it. He'll quietly mass incarcerate you. But he won't come out there with the fanfare of Trump and say, oh, see, I always tell people, you want a Trump. You want them to show their hand. You don't want a liberal that's not going to show their hand, but yet by the time you find out what they did, it's worse than what Trump would have done. Because even right now, that situation, right? Oh, man, you see what Trump doing in D.C. and Trump, and oh, my God, Trump. I'm like, good. Let him do it. At least you see him coming. Because the problem with a lot of black people in America, you're too comfortable. You're way too comfortable for me. Way too comfortable. And because you're too comfortable, that's why you don't really fight like we should. You don't want to build anything like we should. So for you, it got to get real bad. It has to get real bad with racism. You got to lose your jobs. You got to suffer. Oh, you got to suffer. And when you suffer, you actually do pretty good by then. Oh, you do real good when you suffer. The sad part is, why does it take suffering for us to do right? Why can't we just do right on our own? Why can't we just unify on our own? Why can't we just build on our own? Why does it take for them to put their foot on our neck and squeeze it to the point you can't breathe, literally, for you to say, oh, you know what? I'm going to do something now. Because way too many of y'all want to sit on the corner, sit at home, smoking. And you know what smoking I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a vape. Drinking. And you happy with doing that. When we got too many issues and problems in our community that could be solved. Speaking about smoking, did some research on that the other day. You know, some of you daily smokers, I did some research, and they say on average you're spending between $300 to $1,200 a month smoking. Within a year, you could end up spending $7,000 to $14,000 in a year, enough money to open you up a small business, enough money to pay off a lot of your bills, maybe even put a big dent in your car note or something, but you're smoking it up. I think we got too much time on our hands to be smoking things up, okay? We too comfortable and we got a lot of this racism going on. Now, let me get to the second video about Simi Valley. Then I'm probably going to touch a nerve, and that's okay. That's what I do. So let me get to this second video with this brother here. What happened to his daughter in Simi Valley at the hands of these little white supremacist hellions.
My daughter was jumped by 10 white girls. I'm not racist, never really experienced racism until I moved to Simi Valley. When I first moved here, I was pulled over frequently, getting off work, slacks, dress shirt, because my tail light was out, but it wasn't out. Various things that, just to pull me over. Now I'm gonna fast forward really quick to a story about my daughter. So I've been out here, my daughter's 16 years old now, just about to turn 16. And in elementary, in the 5th grade, she was accosted by a group of about 10 white girls at Garden Grove Elementary. Should be documented. I probably could have sued the city of Simi Valley and the Simi Valley Unified School District at that time for negligence. Because I went after the school board, I sent emails, I reached out to the school to find out what was going on. They swept it under the rug. They swept it under the rug. My daughter was jumped by 10 white girls. It should be documented. So I went up to the school because I handle things a little bit differently. So I went up and I saw the parents at graduation, 6th grade graduation. They didn't want any issues. So they pointed me to a parent that lived in a different area. I just so happened to run into that parent at the Northridge Mall. So when I approached that parent and I said, we have a real issue. Your daughter was one of the girls that jumped my daughter on that campus. He pointed back to the other parents saying that, they live in Simi, they're racist, they're meth heads. I believe it because we have plenty of that. Plenty out here. And so my point into that is not to be funny, this, that, and the other, but we have a community, a long living history of people in Simi Valley being racist. And then I'm talking about on all levels. I'm talking about the lowest of the low and those that think they're the highest of the high.
Sir, your time is now up. But thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So you heard our brother there. Our brother say his daughter was jumped by the little hellions in Simi Valley. So when I tell you that it's a culture, it's with the male and the female. Because sometimes what people try to do is give the female a pass. She doesn't get a pass. She's the same. Now, speak about the young brother, Michael Robinson. They were calling him the N-word while doing this. Now, a hate crime, for the most part, definition is if you are committing an act of violence and you're using racial slurs or any kind of slur of any kind, that is the clear-cut definition of a hate crime. And we have taught you here, which I know a lot of people probably not have heard us say this. Maybe you're new. If a hate crime happens to you, you're supposed to report it to your local law enforcement and go report the hate crime to the FBI. The FBI must investigate all hate crimes. Black people don't do that enough. You make a report with your local law enforcement, and then you make a report with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, because on the federal level, hate crimes is something they have to investigate. And hate crime laws is on the books, and we need to be taking advantage of them. Yes, we need a specific anti-black hate crime bill. We do, but the ones that's on the books, we also need to be trying to take advantage of it and making our reports to the FBI. So once again, let me see if I can find this for y'all real quick, so I can show you where to report a hate crime at to the FBI. Just give me a second. Hold on. I want to show you better than I can tell you. Let me see, hate crime. Let's see, report. Let's see. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get it to the FBI. All right, here we go. FBI.gov. All right. Let me go ahead on and get this to the side here. Let me just, yeah, okay, I got it. Let me pull it up. All right, boom. This is on the FBI's website. Okay, say what? It's under the Civil Rights Division. It's hate crimes are the highest priority of the FBI's civil rights program because of the devastating impact they have on families and communities. The Bureau investigates hundreds of these cases each year, and we work to detect and prevent incidents through law enforcement training, public outreach, and partnerships with community groups. Traditionally, FBI investigations of hate crimes were limited to crimes in which the perpetrator acted based on a bias against a victim's race, color, religion, or national origin. In addition to investigations were restricted to those within the victim was engaged in a fairly protected activity. With the passage of the Matthew Shepard and James Berry Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009, the Bureau became authorized to also investigate crimes committed against those based on biases of sex, disability, or actual or perceived orientation. Okay? So they give you about the history, say they investigate what is called hate crimes as far back as World War I. Then they talk about the Civil Rights Act and all of that. They're talking about defining a hate crime. A hate crime is a traditional offense like murder, arson, or vandalism with an added element of bias. For the purpose of collecting statistics, the FBI defined hate crimes as a criminal offense against a person's property motivated in whole or in part by offender's bias against race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender identity. Hate itself is not a crime. and the FBI is mindful of protecting freedom of speech and other civil liberties. So basically, if someone calls you an N-word, that's not a hate crime. But if they are beating you down and doing all that while calling you the N-word, that's a hate crime, okay? So they just saying what their role is. They say they investigate, they lead investigate agency for criminal violations of federal civil rights statutes. They tell you what the Bureau does. They tell them how they support all of that, right? So so you can report, let me see, if you believe you are a victim or a witness of a hate crime. So if you witnessed a hate crime, we encourage you to report it to the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submitting a tip at tips.fbi.gov. So report to your local law enforcement and then report to the FBI, okay? They have to investigate it. Hey, at least you did your part by reporting it, and they say they have to try to do something to look into it based on the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009. Obama was in office when that was actually passed. I do remember the story of James Byrd. I was in Jasper, Texas. That's East Texas. You know, I was back home in Port Arthur at that time when that happened to James Byrd Jr. So I just want to make sure we give you this information, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we all about giving y'all information here, not just run off at the mouth. So make sure to report. Yes, Eric say file them, black folks, file them. All right. So we heard all the racism going on in Simi Valley. Here's the issue, and I have to go there. Listen, yes, we built America. You doggone right we built this country from the ground up. Yes, we built 70-plus black towns. Yes, we had millions of acres of farmland. Oh, yes, we did. This country would not be where it's at today without black Americans. But here's always the issue. See, some people forget history. And so I got to remind people why some people used to talk the way they used to talk. So when, you know, Pan-Africanism now is a bad word, okay? But the reason why a lot of people got into that was because places like Simi Valley, California. That's why they got into that. People got tired of being in a country that treats them like they're not a citizen. And people forget, I don't know why people forget that it is no way that we as American citizens should be told we can't or being treated like that in an American city, and it's our country. You understand what I'm saying? Some people really didn't want to be here anymore because of that reason. Some people didn't want to. This is why they were taking the knee during the time of Colin Kaepernick, right? Because they were saying we supposed to be Americans, but look how you treating us, right? Dr. King, when he was marching, he made sure to carry that American flag. But at the same time, he put America on blast because they were going around the world talking about human rights and democracy while you wasn't giving human rights and democracy to black Americans. Dr. King was very smart to do that. He embarrassed America. George Floyd, what happened to George Floyd embarrassed America. Not only what happened to George Floyd, which was extremely cruel and evil, but the response. They go around telling everybody they the leader of the free world, but they can't be a leader of anything at home. That was embarrassing. And the whole world got turned up. And then now, fast forward to today, have we forgotten all that? Has America changed to the point where we just treated good in this country now? I just have to make sure just to put that out there. I'm not telling you to have a hatred of where we live. This is our country. I get it. And yes, some people made emotional decisions, and I think it was the dumbest thing. There are people just up and going to Ghana, right? Just up and taking $25,000, $50,000, just going to Ghana. And then they run out of money, and then they don't have no help, or they giving money to some guy that say he own a land, and then he gets you, and then you're mad. And like, but why did you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like who is these people, these random people talking about they own some land? So there are people that took some had a lot of bad experiences, because I did my research, a lot of bad experiences because they just up and leave somewhere. I don't think you should ever just up and go anywhere. I don't think you should up and go to the next state over without going visit the state, make sure it has enough, resources for you, make sure it's good enough, the schools are good for your kids, make sure they got enough health care for you, like say food, the food's good, do they got good gyms, is the internet good, hey, is your water run right? Like, you have to do research before you move anywhere. Prime example, I always give props to Dr. Latasha Blanton and Mark Blanton. They didn't just up and leave America. They didn't do that. They went to South Africa 8 years back and forth. And then when he retired from Secret Service, he said, okay, I'm ready now. And I told him, so y'all did it right. Y'all just up and had some emotional experience and just show up in South Africa somewhere. And I'm not telling people they got to leave America, but I'm saying is some people, this is where a lot of that came from. People today act like, oh, they should. But when I look at situations like Simi Valley, California, and I'm looking at a young black boy being jumped by these white supremacists, and a young black girl being jumped by these white supremacists in our own country, in the most liberal state of the union. You can't get more liberal, more Democrat than California. The Democrats run California, and look how black people are treated. Malcolm X said this. He said, anything south of Canada is the South. The whole country is the South. There's no area that we have sanctuary, but they give sanctuary to immigrants. Well, right now, they can't really do it because Trump is raising hell. But let's say Trump get out of office next 4 years or so, and let's say, I'm just hypothetical, Gavin Newsom get in there. It's going to be right back to California politics for America. Immigration, LGBT, all, we not getting nothing. That's exactly what's going to happen if Gavin Newsom get in there. It's going to go to hell. We all know that. We don't win in no way, shape, form, or fashion. And so some black Americans, not all, some black Americans are like, man, I'm sick of these people. I don't want to look at them. I'm sick of their racism. It's not that they not, and I've talked to many of them. It's not that they don't like America. It's not that they don't love their family. It's just the fact that they're so sick of them and their racism. And another issue that some of them have told me is say, look, I'll still be in America if we were unified enough to get rid of the problem, but we don't want to be unified. We don't. He said, some of us just want to be comfortable. Some of us want to sell out. It's only a small minority that really want to be about the business of holding the community up. But then that small minority eventually gets tired too. Because it's not even the majority. It's a small minority that's trying to be loud, a small minority that's trying to fight for the community, a small minority that's advocating. Well, when you start seeing everybody partying and BSing, you understand what I'm saying? You can like, man, I don't care no more, man. I'm good. I'm sick of this. I'm sick. Look at Minister Farrakhan. Just to name one. He been in the trenches for black people ever since I've been on earth. Minister Farrakhan gave us so much truth and dimes. He did. As a collective of people, what did we do with it? What did we do with what Minister Farrakhan told us to do as a collective of people? All those years when Farrakhan was young, he was out there doing it. I mean, Farrakhan was on TV. Farrakhan was everywhere. Yeah, you like how he speak, but did you apply what the minister said to apply? Everybody talk about Claude Anderson now. Okay. Dr. Claude Anderson been talking for years about political delineation for sure. For years, he's been talking about immigration and how it's going to affect black Americans before it got this bad. He been preaching that sermon. Black folks dismissed him. Looked at him as fringe. It's been so many people that's been talking to us as a collective to prevent us to get in the situation that we in right now as a collective of people. That's where the frustration comes at with some people. And I always say, I can't be telling people, and also have to be respectful. You know, some people don't care about this microphone, but I do. I can't tell people certain things when they may not be in my situation. And here's why. I could tell you, don't you go nowhere. You stay right here. You do this. But I'm not living your life, though. I'm not in your city. I don't know what's happening with you. And I always tell people this, be careful with people always telling you what you need to do, because especially when you see them traveling. That's why I don't tell nobody, you stay right here. You want to stay here, fine, stay here. But if you want to travel, you want to do this, do that, fine too, because I believe in traveling. I know a lot of black people who believe in traveling. I watch Black Americans all the time on YouTube talking about their experiences and their life. And I'm like, hey, man, I got my time. I don't know if I'm be, man. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful with that. Some of us swinging that American flag so hard. I get it. And I'm an American like everybody else, born and raised here, But we haven't got our reparations. We haven't got our anti-black hate crime bill. Immigrants have gotten way more transferred to them in our neighborhoods, literally. Like in Chicago, a Venezuelan came over here, family on Chicago. They showed it. Got here in 2022. And the following year, they moved into a home, not renting. A home, moved into one. The banks helped them with, and a nonprofit helped them with down payment to get the home. Not an apartment in a project, a home for this Venezuelan family. I'll never forget that story out of Chicago. While black folks in that same neighborhood has been forced to rent. They can't even buy. That's the kind of disrespect I'm talking about. And then we as a collective of people will still go collectively vote for the party that will disrespect us like that. That's what gets like some of my frustration. Then you want to argue with me. And the crazy part is now y'all trying to argue with LaSherica of all ones to argue with. LaSherica, really? You want to argue with LaSherica about, I know it's crazy, if you want to argue with LaSherica about Jasmine Crockett of all things to argue with LaSherica about, you're fighting for the Democrats, and the Democrats has transferred so much money to immigrants. And the immigrants going to get the money. I'm not really mad at them because you give anybody free money, they're going to take it. I think it's not, we shouldn't be sitting up there, these immigrants, why are they taking the money? You will take free money. Come on, bro. The issue is the Democrats. But as a collective of people, we're not trying to up here go at the Democrats. We say, oh, Phil, they better than the Republicans. I'm like, and look, okay, so now we back to square one. They're going to prioritize LGBT. They want to push immigration. They want to push abortion on the black children because they want to wipe out black children. They're more racist than the Republicans. At least the Republicans are not pushing that on black children. They want to push a drag queen story time for children. They want trans in the women's bathrooms. This is what Democrats want, and that's what you will go vote for. And that gets frustrating. Because I'm like, where's your righteousness at? Be independent. Let's be independent. Oh, no, we got to choose a party, Phil. It's a two-party system. Y'all will argue me down. Y'all will say I'm a Trump supporter. You would say I'm being paid by Russians. I guess LaSherica too is I guess the Russians created LaSherica too, from what I was reading. I mean, it's always some magical white person that's behind everything. That lets you know how much of a slave a lot of you are, that a black person can't have their own mind and just say what they want to say. No, it has to be a white person behind it. You don't realize how much of a slave you are, that you don't even acknowledge that black people could think on their own or have their own thoughts or whatever. It has to be a white person behind it. I seen somebody the other day talking about FBA is the brainchild of some white man. I'm like, so why is it that a white man got to be behind everything that black people do? It has to be a white man. Y'all are still on the plantation in your mind. If everything you say, it has to be a white man behind it. I'm sorry, there's not a white boogeyman behind every corner. I know some of you believe that, but white people aren't omnipresent. They're not God. They're not everywhere at the same time. You say your father used to call you MAGA, okay, you agree with maybe some points. It don't say you agree with MAGA themselves, because a lot of MAGA are freaking anti-black racists. We know that. Any solid black person is not gonna walk around with a MAGA hat on. They're not. They're gonna say, you know what? I do agree with Trump about the immigration. I do agree with him cutting off all that set aside stuff for the foreigners. I agree with that. 2 things could be right at the same time. 10 things could be right at the same time. I can agree with maybe 2 things Trump's been doing, and I may disagree with 10 other things he's doing. Sometimes you got to take what you can get. If Kamala Harris would have became the president of the United States, it'd have been worse. And then they bring immigrants to places like Simi Valley with their anti-black racism, and then they pile on more anti-black racist immigrants. That's what the Democrats do. They bring immigrants that got anti-black racism in their own homeland. Latin America is full of anti-black racism because they ate up with colorism. Even Latinos. We talking about dark-skinned Latinos. We're not talking about the black ones. Dark-skinned Latinos are discriminated against heavily. Give you an example. Let me talk about Mexico. Seen a Mexican woman on TikTok. She said a guy said the most beautiful women is in Jalisco and the ugly women is in Oaxaca. Well, Jalisco is all the whiter looking Mexicans, and Oaxaca is the real dark indigenous Mexicans and the black ones. That's who live in Oaxaca. And I'm the type of person like, well, shoot, let me go visit Oaxaca then. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be in Jalisco. Of course, I'm not looking for no woman either. But I'd rather go be with it. And then the videos I seen out of Oaxaca, I said, man, like they having a good time. The food look good over there. Like I would want to be over there with them folks. No, I'm cool. I'd rather be I say, put me with the dark people at. I've always been like that. Put me with the dark people at. I ain't trying to be around these folks. But they bring that colorism. Listen, every flavor of European brought that mess over. The Portuguese, that's white. The Spaniard, that's white. And then the Spaniards let a Guatemalan or Mexican go to Spain. They let them know real quick, you are not one of us, and they would dog them out. Some of them tell you that too. Oh, I've been to Spain. They hated me. Oh, they don't respect them either. They are good and racist, them Spaniards over there. Another thing about some of y'all black Americans, you leave America and you go run as Portugal. Then you talk about the racism. Then you go to Spain. You talk about the racism. You go to South Korea and you talk about the racism. Why would you go to a white country and then go complain about racism? You should have stayed here. I'm going to keep preaching that sermon. I think I left some comments on TikTok to some black folks with that. Why leave America to deal with racism? If I'm going to leave America, I'm not moving nowhere or even visiting nowhere that I got to deal with some racism. I might well just stay here. At least I got rights to my people here if I'm going to fight some racism. The purpose of leaving America, if you want to do it, is to get away from them people. And then some say, well, white supremacy is global. Yes, it is a global system. But once again, white people aren't omnipresent. They're not everywhere at the same time. Now, outside of America, you deal with indirect white supremacy, indirect. In America, you deal with direct white supremacy. You live with them. You underneath their system. Like, we deal with direct white supremacy. Sometimes it's easier to deal with indirect white supremacy than direct white supremacy. I'm telling you, it's a big difference. So that's why some people was taking a knee, and some people like, I can't stand this country and all this because of how the country was treating us, mostly these folks, not black folks, but these folks. So y'all gotta understand history and why we were saying certain things, why people, and then now you look at today and people are like, huh? Some things that people are saying now. And I'm like, I report the news and I see we're not being treated better. We're being treated worse. Look how many jobs is being lost by black people. Look at the blatant things these people are doing to black people. I mean, they're doing a lot of blatant things to black people. We're not being treated better now. We haven't got our reparations. So I'm just saying that just keep everything in balance. That's the only thing that I'm saying. Keep everything in balance. And I told y'all, I'm not trying to be at the top or the bottom. That's not what I'm ever trying to be. Now, if you want to be at the top or the bottom, you can do that. Phillip's not doing that. Phillip want to be the head and not the tail. I don't want to be the head of the tail. Sorry, you can do that. Oh yeah, the story, that on Emancipation Media. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. We covered a story out of South Korea where this black woman was in South Korea and the South Korean man spit on this black woman, spit on her. And that's how I'm like, why would you even go there? I say there's so many countries you can go to. Why you would endure that? That doesn't make sense to me. Look, y'all don't understand, my tolerance level for racism, the older I get, is getting very short. I was more tolerant to some of it at one point in time. I guess I'm getting older. I'm getting so over it. It's just shrinking by the day. It's just extremely shrinking. Because it's old already to me. It's old and it's stupid. It's so much you can live. Like, listen, I've had so much good times with my family, relaxing, doing different things, whether even it's here in America too. And guess what? Them folks were nowhere around when I was enjoying myself. Whether here in America or definitely, I'll never get that trip we took to South Africa in 2023. Man, we got to go take another family trip like that, but it's kind of hard now. My wife all tied up, but we had such a good time. And my kids still talk about that. Yeah, you remember we was eating outside, looking at the ocean at that villa we stayed in, and it was this and that. My kids still talk about that. My grown kids still talk about that. We wasn't discussing these folks or nothing. That's what I'm saying. I guess I'm getting old. I'm getting tired of it. I am. So you say it couldn't be you? Yeah, I get it. But the thing is, you go bust somebody in the mouth over there. Remember, you're a foreigner, so they're gonna throw you underneath the jail. It's not like the United States. It's not like the United States at all. I don't know why my child is calling me right now. Let me see something. My little one. I don't know why she know I'm streaming. But anyway, I need to wrap up anyway. Thank y'all for joining us on the stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click the subscribe button. That's free. Click the like button. Also, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check out AfroWire AI. Subscribe over there. LaShare got a commentary coming up here in about 5 minutes. But thank you.